There's our Hyundai keys to the game.
And Pedro is pitching, not throwing. Pedro can do anything he wants, and he's become a pitcher over the years. When he was a thrower, that meant he threw at 97 miles an hour. Mixed speed with power as far as the Mets offense is concerned. And that's a guy right there that will turn the engine on offensively if he's moving in the right direction with his speed. Jose Reyes.
Pedro staring in. And another 1-2 offering. Hit from the outside, pulled on the ground to Reyes, 2 down.
And right there, a great changeup, and the batter Burke out in front, just very tappy with the swing of the bat. And another fast out.
Right off the end of the bat, Chris Burke hits the ground ball to Jose Reyes. And Reyes, of course, with that good arm, getting it over to Marlon Anderson.
Pedro Martinez has had a 1-2-3 inning. 53% of the innings so far this year, which is the highest in the major leagues.
He also leads the major leagues in having his relief pitchers blow games. They have blown 3 games. He could be 9-1 for the year if the pitchers had held the lead that he gave them.
He's also the most animated, happiest pitcher I've ever seen in 1-0 ball games. I've never seen anybody so relaxed. Usually a pitcher sits on the side of the dugout, staring out in the field.
Now that 1-2-3 is such a huge thing. I mean, especially in the first inning, get your team off to that good start. Biggio pulls this one to left. Cliff Floyd into the corner there, and there's another 1-2-3 inning for Pedro. Get the Mets to the plate quickly against Oswalt.
Have been having some good years here in New York.
Now Carlos Beltran's hit all of his home runs in Pedro's starts. Marlon Anderson will bat 6th tonight, getting the first base call for the Mets. And the Mets facing Roy Oswalt, 20-game winner last season. And he has pitched better than a 6.6 mark so far this year.
The only 20-game winner in the National League. 2 other pitchers won 20 or more in the American League, but this guy is good. He is a ground ball pitcher.
How about when he was in the minor leagues in 2000, playing Kissimmee? They sent him to a team called Round Rock that was owned by Nolan Ryan. He pitched so well, they were going to send him back to Kissimmee, and Nolan Ryan told the Astros, "You got to keep him. You got to keep him here." And then he was on the fast track. Nolan loves him.
And Reyes winds up taking ball 3 from Oswalt. Cameron to follow.
We showed Roberto Alomar in the stands. Jose Reyes working with Sandy Alomar before the ball game. He works as hard with Jose Reyes as he did with Roberto. Well, he was a terrific player.
And Reyes puts it on the ground, but he puts it right at Adam Everett. And there's 1 down.
Well, Roberto Alomar could play that second base prior to coming to New York. And speaking of second base, let's take a look at the defense for the Astros. You got Lamb, Biggio, Everett, and Ensberg in the infield. Burke, Palmeiro, Berkman left to right in the outfield. Ausmus behind the plate. Oswalt on the mound. And Mike Lamb, his 17th start down there at first base. Of course, Jeff Bagwell out. And possibly they're not sure if he'll ever come back.
So Mike Cameron at the plate takes a ball outside. Oswalt hitting 95 with the fastball. Just update that. Jeff Bagwell had his shoulder surgery today. It was delayed several weeks. The doctor, the surgeon that Bagwell wanted to use, had been vacationing out of the country, and they had to wait for him to come back. And well, it's unlikely that he's going to play this year.
And they're concerned about his career.
Yeah, it's a last-ditch effort by Bagwell.
Yeah.
Cameron goes to right field, and he'll run. Cameron will head to second base, and he's up there as Lance Berkman in right field for the first time this year.
Yeah, because he usually busted. He hits his ball hard, but he loped into second base. I mean, there was no hustle going into second base. Watch him go, because ordinarily this is a triple for Mike Cameron.
He pulled up about halfway to second base, and that could be a hamstring.
Oh boy, it was all about his wrist at one time, and now could it be the hamstring? I mean, let's take a look at it again. Could he have re-injured the wrist? He goes to right field. He hits his ball hard. No, it doesn't look like he favored it when he hit it. No, that'd be the leg. You saw the grimace.
Yep. Well, Mike Cameron, who in his Seattle years was an Ironman. 1 year in Cincinnati, played 146 games. 4 years in Seattle, the fewest games he played was 147. Remember, he played hurt here last year. A finger injury that hampered him, but he still played 140 games.
He hurt his hand sliding into home plate last year. I asked him after the season, would you do it again, play hurt? He said, I don't think so. It clearly is the leg, and it doesn't look like the hamstrings bother him, although he didn't extend himself right there.
And of course, the other element to remember here, the Mets are already playing with a Carlos Beltran who's not running 100%.
One of those things that happen when you do pull that muscle, you can feel as you're running it tightening up, and it doesn't really grab. If you that could be the possibility here. It just momentarily cramped, and then it went away.
We'll take a look at this. Besides the concern for his leg, he is hitting the ball hard the other way. But right there, you see, he comes up, the grimace.
How important is Cameron? That was his 36th hit of this season. 18, half of them have been for extra bases.
And he is, Ralph, since he's come back from rehabbing that hand and the wrist, he's been using the right side of the field more than he ever had.
And he's really, by doing that, he's cut down his strikeout.
Yes. So here's Beltran now. Of course, teammates with Oswald and many of these Houston players last year. And the #1 question from the Houston side before the game tonight, when you went up to somebody and says, how's Beltran doing? How's Carlos been playing?
He certainly has played well when Martinez has been on the mound. 7 home runs, all of his home runs, with Martinez as a starting pitcher. The record for the Mets is Strawberry had a total of 13 for Gooden, and Mike Piazza had 13 for Leiter.
Now Oswald has him 1-2, and Carlos chops one towards Biggio. Cameron to third, 2 down.
Well, checking out the runner on second base, Cameron. He takes it easy going over to third base. Had nowhere to go beyond that. And so evidently it was just a momentary cramp. He could feel it, and he didn't want to extend it.
So with 2 down, Cliff Floyd will bat. Coming off his 2 home run games Sunday. And I would think here that in the minds of both men is a memory of a big home run that Cliff hit off Oswald last May in a game in Houston.
And what happened was Cliff couldn't catch up with his fastball because he just came back from rehabbing in Florida. He said he watched some video of Oswald. With men on base, he liked to go to his breaking ball. He sat on his breaking ball after taking a fastball he couldn't catch up with, hit a breaking ball for a grand slam. Let's go back last year. It's a hook and bang. He hammered this ball, Ralph.
He got it all, no doubt about that. Well, hitters have to, and the nice word for it is, they have to anticipate what the pitch could be. It's a better word than guessing. Makes it sound much more erudite.
Clip to left center field, and that'll drive in a run. Boy trying to stretch this into a double, and he is in. His 39th run batted in. Plates his good friend Cameron. First inning lead for the Mets.
Well, Cliff Floyd said the thing that got him back on a positive path is he's not over swinging now. Here he gets a pitch from Oswald over the plate, the fastball. And he catches up to this ball, but he doesn't overswing. He pops that ball into left center field. And watch it, look at his swing. Head down on the ball. Good mechanics at the plate, Ralph.
Very good. Right on that one. And 2 hard doubles, and the Mets lead by 1.
Well, Ray Ramirez, the Met trainer, immediately talking to Cameron. Doesn't look like Mike Cameron's all that interested. It looked like Ray was doing all the talking there as Piazza fouls it away.
Probably had too many conversations with trainers over the past few years.
So they're going to go downstairs.
That's not a good sign.
Well, you hope it's a quick trip.
Yeah, when you stay in the dugout, that's a good sign. When you start walking downstairs towards the locker room, that's a problem.
Will Mets have a new weight stretching room that they built, and it's just beyond the end of the dugout tunnel there, so they may just go in there and take a stretch and see how it feels. Piazza at 253, now in a 2-strike hole, and the fastball runs in and gets Piazza to end the inning. But the Mets get a first inning run for Martinez. Now the good news for the Mets, at least right away, Cameron goes back to right field. And there's trainer Ray Ramirez briefing Willie Randolph on what happened. Of course, Willie's sitting there going, my center fielder's not 100%. I can't afford to have my right fielder down. As Berkman takes ball one, Lance Berkman, who when the Astros were here to open the home season was on the disabled list, rehabbing an off-season injury.
Right here, you're going to see the influence of Mickey Mantle. The reason Lance Berkman switch hits, his dad idolized Mickey Mantle.
Berkman skies that to left. That's going to tail out of play.
It's funny, Ralph, even though, you know, everybody thinks that switch hitting is something that's relatively easy. I believe there are only 7 guys in the Hall of Fame that were switch hitters.
Quite a few of them are pitchers.
No. These are everyday players. It's the 7 switch hitters.
One of the great ones, of course, Mantle, and then they have Frankie Frisch, who switched it in the 30s.
Eddie Murray,
one of the great ones of all time. Berkman, along with Bagwell and Biggio, formed the 3 Bs for the Houston Astros. Gave them quite an offense. They were anything but that now. On the road, they were almost unbelievably bad.
Astros have a horrendous road record, 5-22, and Ralph, they're just not hitting at all.
They're hitting as a team at 207, and their batting average is right down around 200. Of course, now they don't have Bagwell, and Bergman has been out the early part of the year. Biggio's still there.
Oh, look at Pedro just painting the outside corner for his first strikeout.
Well, Pedro has that pitch that they call the elevated sinker. There it is right there. That's the second pitch to Berkman. Then he gets him to pop that same pitch. I believe that ball run away from Berkman. And once again, the fastball. It's a pretty good pitch right there.
All those fastballs are right there in a perfect spot.
And that's the funny thing is Ensberg taps one off the mound. Pedro with a nice pickup. Gets him.
Well, he's quick. He can feel his position. He gets the ball. He gets on the mound. He throws the ball. He throws the ball over the plate. He's a delight for the defense. Here it is again. Waste no time. Panasonic digital replay, Ralph.
And Martinez, so the Dodgers had and let go.
Yeah, because Tommy Lasorda was not convinced that with his slight frame that Pedro would last.
Well, that's understandable. Lasorda has anything but a slight frame.
Here's Mike Lamb. Funny thing about that pitch package we showed you to Lance Berkman was that Pedro did not throw a single changeup in that at-bat. All the pitches he threw were fastballs. They were all between 86 and 90 miles an hour. Didn't change up once on them.
There was a good change of speeds right there.
One time, Pedro Martinez had 2 pitches, 97-mile-per-hour fastball and a straight change. Never messed around a breaking ball. Now he has the breaking ball, the fastball, but still the great straight change.
And there's a great, every time you can see this, because it's been fairly well reported, but Pedro has a physical trait that is just a genetic freak. He has the longest fingers I've ever seen. And his fingers are incredibly long, and it's always been attributed to one of the reasons he gets so much great action on the ball.
I would like to measure him up against Koufax. Koufax had the longest fingers I ever saw.
Is that right?
How about Tom Severs?
Severs had the long ones too.
He doesn't have to take a backseat to anybody with those fingers.
And the funny thing is that here's strike 2. Now I had a chance with Fran and I had a chance to meet Koufax a couple of years ago, and I was struck by how big his hands were. He just had huge hands.
Tremendous hands.
And Pedro's got small hands. He has small hands but long, tentacle-like fingers.
So it's not the hands, it's the way you use them.
Oh, what a great. So how about that? Now there were some great change-ups in that at-bat. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Roy 3. Oswald throws a big, slow curveball to Marlon Anderson for a strike.
You know, we talk about how Oswald threw that curveball to Cliff Floyd. We showed the replay when he hit the grand slam. By the way, a footnote to that grand slam. Next time he faced him last year, he drilled him with a fastball.
It's just got away, that's all.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
Now Marlon Anderson starting tonight. Doug Minkiewicz out with an injury. Oh, and Oswald paints. Wow, that's beautiful. And Oswald has his second strikeout.
Hey, we'll take a look at the grip there from Oswald.
Third baseman,
As we mentioned, he throws that fastball about 96 miles per hour, and right there, he just paints the black, Ralph.
That's what they call a two-seamer, and of course he has that sinking ball. When you hold two seams, you turn it down almost like a screwball and you throw it hard.
So David Wright, those outstanding numbers. Just to finish on Minkiewicz, Doug Minkiewicz whacked himself chasing a foul ball here the other night against the Giants. He had an MRI done today, and it shows no break. He has a contusion to his pectoral muscle and a bruised rib. And the proverbial day-to-day listing. Meanwhile, David Wright had an interesting day today. David Wright spent the early part of this afternoon in the Mets draft room. Today was draft day in Major League Baseball.
Well, Upton works out with them, Justin Upton. And B.J. Upton also works out with the B.J. Upton with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
David Wright sat in the Mets room for the entire first round of the draft. I've never heard of a player being interested enough to do that before. Jam there. Soft one-hopper to Biggio for out number 2.
Also, an old teammate of his was number 4 in the draft, Zimmerman from the Washington Nationals. Take a look at the sequence of pitches. David Wright, fastball missed outside, fouls that pitch off, and not able to catch up with that fastball, Ralph.
All fastballs, and he was not quick enough to get to it in time. The #1 draft choice of the Mets was the right-hand pitcher, Mike Pelfrey, Pelfrey.
Second year in a row for the Mets. #1 draft pick of pitching.
Yep. A college pitcher from Wichita State. Always been a good baseball school.
There has never been a first-round draft choice that has made the Hall of Fame. So it isn't that big a advantage.
The draft started in 1965. Prior to that, you were on the market and all the teams could bid for you.
And the first guy drafted was Rick Mundy. He will not make the Hall of Fame. Mets in 1966 drafted Steve Chilcott. He never made the major leagues. Their #1 draft choice in the nation. Mets also drafted #1 in the nation, Tim Foley, and their real big draft, and could have been in the Hall of Fame, Darryl Strawberry.
It was our last pitch to Kaz Matsui. Yeah, Darryl Strawberry had Hall of Fame talent.
And in 1994, the Mets drafted Paul Wilson.
Matsui took that pitch away. A changeup, and he went with it, drilled it to left field.
Interesting the way he hits his ball. He starts and he has to wait for it, and then he just serves it into left field, Ralph. Didn't overswing.
That's what we call a real tennis player's swing right there. Serving the ball into left field, sort of like a drop shot. As Ted would know, as he just finished the French Open. Set a world's record for flying back to France twice.
Well, I got to admit, life's not bad when you wake up in the morning on the Champs-Elysees and you end your day at Shea Stadium. That works, doesn't it?
I don't know whether I would go for that. I like the Champs-Elysees, but I don't know about that.
Oh, come on. I get to sit with you and Fran here?
Now you're really
Fran's not buying it. Look at him.
I can buy into the apple. I like the apple, and I'm sure France is a beautiful place.
You haven't been there.
No, but I'm looking forward to it. You've been there.
Your wife speaks French.
Yes, she does. She's been to France. She raves about it.
She wouldn't take you?
But she said,
I can understand that.
She said people are supposed to be patient when they visit Paris.
That's a bad thing. That's a problem for Francis Healy.
There is no patience in either.
That's right.
No way in the world.
That's why I used to jump at the breaking ball.
Got to stay back and wait.
Oswald trying to finish off Pedro against Arizona's last start. Got his first hit. A little dribbler. Mariners put the ball in play, though. He's been up 30 times. He's only struck out 7.
It's like Ron Savota said, you strike out 7 times in a doubleheader, you owe it to the fans for the 8th one.
We'll go to the 3rd at Shea. Pedro back to the hill, up 1-0. An institution.
Yes.
He works outside the visitors clubhouse so that all the people in baseball come to know him very well.
Speaking of an institution.
This is playable right away on Everett. Adam Everett, first ball swinging, and Wright calls off Piazza.
The institution I'm speaking of is Jimmy Plummer, who is also trying to recover from a injury, and we wish him the best of luck and miss him here at the ballpark. He's been in charge of public relations here for the Mets for years and years and years.
And all the players come up to us and say, well, you wish Jimmy Plummer speedy recovery. They deal closely with Jimmy.
Even a guy like David Wright, who hasn't been here very long, is very much a part of that. As we saw the Panasonic digital replay of Wright catching the foul pop. Brad Ausmus, the batter. And the last little plug we'll put on that regard was it's always great when Ralph is here that the other remaining original Met was here tonight, Bob Mant, who set up the Mets' first office in Midtown Manhattan in the winter of '61-62. Bob came by the ballpark tonight, was here to see you, Ralph.
He was really a great guy and retired a couple of years ago and now traveling around the world. He used to work at Ebbets Field and also with the Mets from day one. I don't think...
You two are the last Mohicans, you know.
I don't think he said it, but someone asked him, how did you get to the Mets? He said, practice.
Strikeout rhythm starting from the crowd as Ausmus fouls it back. Pedro will start tonight. There's a good turnout, and Pedro's going to pitch again on this homestand. He'll pitch Sunday afternoon here against the Angels.
So give the Mets an opportunity to draw some people again. So, well, they're going to draw people as long as they win, but you put Pedro on the mound. He's one of those pitchers that will draw people to the ballpark.
There's persistence right there that paid off. A souvenir. Dropped a curveball in there for his 3rd strikeout.
That's what gets people out to the ballpark. He's been a dominant pitcher, and one of the things he's done so well, striking batters out. And Ralph right here, the breaking ball.
The old dipsy doodle, the curveball, and he gets in there for that perfect pitch.
Even though it was a hanger.
Buckle, yeah, the knees buckle, and that's done a lot of guys back to work.
You know, years ago, Ralph, you had a good buddy of yours, I think, was the first to have a attendance clause in his contract. It was a pitcher, Bob Feller. Sandy Koufax was another guy that used to draw people to the ball.
Feller used to pitch on Sundays, and he got 10 cents in admission.
Sandy or Feller? Which one?
Feller.
Feller.
And they would draw 80,000 people, so it was a pretty good bonus.
Reyes going to his glove side, and Pedro has set down the first 9 Houston batters. This is the Amtrak home run inning. Alan Oberblatt from Brooklyn's our contestant tonight. If the Mets homer in this inning, Alan will win tickets to an upcoming game. If it goes over the Amtrak.com sign in right center, it's a trip for 2 to an Amtrak destination. You can apply. Send a postcard to the address you see there on your screen.
There it is, right out there, Ralph. That Amtrak. You see, you didn't hit the ball the other way.
No, I was a pull hitter.
So we'd have to put. Well, they got a lot of signs out there now in left field, so you can win something out there. I guess the most famous sign ever in New York had to be Abe Starks.
The one that hit the sign, it was down on the ground, as a matter of fact, in Brooklyn, Ebbets Field. No one ever hit it. And they say Perot, who played right field, got paid off by Abe Starks playing in front of him.
There's Cameron to follow Reyes. Reyes got the count to 3-0 in the first inning and eventually grounded out.
Abe Stark was the borough president of Brooklyn at one time.
It's low.
I was told, we were talking about those signs a few weeks ago, and I was told by a gentleman that there was a sign next to the Abe Stark sign, Lucky Strike sign, and if you hit that, 1,000 cigarettes went to.
Reyes whacks that into right field, leadoff single.
Jose Reyes right there, getting that heater. Loves that fastball, Ralph.
He's better as a right-hand batter, but learning a lot as a left-hand batter. Fastball. He pulls off the ball here a little bit, but he keeps that stride short and gets good wood in the ball.
He's a good first ball fastball hitter. When they get ahead of Jose Reyes, they try to throw that off-speed breaking ball to him.
Now this is an interesting matchup. Oswalt does not have many bases stolen against him. Osman's pretty good thrower. Well, you know Reyes is over there thinking, I can go. And this is a game again where you expect runs will be hard to come by.
This is a challenge to a good throwing catcher. You get as keyed up as the runner is.
Reyes with a very short lead right now.
Reyes has stolen 15 out of 19. There he goes, and now he's going back. Was that a miss? That looked like a hit and run. The way Reyes was running there, it looked like it was a hit and run.
He sure pulled up. He got about a third of the way down the line and stopped.
Well, yeah, the way he stopped. And look, I'm surprised a hit and run with Reyes on the bases. Yeah. I guess it was. Look at Osmus. I'm telling you, if you can throw, look at Liam was going to fire the ball and hit Reyes. Jose Reyes stopping, unless he just got a bad jump and said, I can't make it. But a catcher like Osmus gets wired up when he has a chance to throw somebody out, because his fort is his defense. Willie Randolph
right away addressing it.
Yeah, he was a good base stealer too. So they were, it looked like Jose Reyes was talking about the dirt giving in when he took off.
He might have slipped.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't just a bad jump. There was something there. Judging off watching the way Willie was talking to him, he must have missed a sign.
And Willie Randolph was a good base stealer also.
And a good fastball at the knees finishes Cameron for Oswalt's third strikeout.
That's a nasty pitch right there. Pitcher's pitch, Ralph.
It sure was. That ball looked low from up here.
So very quickly, 2 down for Beltran. He grounded out in his first inning at bat. And he fouls it away. Our game shifting play brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to shift your ride. Beltran in the field.
Right at the Nikon sign, going up and bringing the ball back.
That was bringing back a Michael Tucker drive in the first inning of Sunday night's second game. Saved a home run. Graceful that was for Beltran. Good fastball running away, 2 strikes.
Ralph, do you ever have a bone bruise in that thumb area? It looks like Beltran might have somewhat of a bone bruise. He has a protection on the thumb.
You better believe I have. Every hitter has sometime or another.
And then he chases one upstairs, and Oswalt a little anger on that at bat.
96 miles per hour.
And Pedro right back to work. Before the Astros bat here, let's get our Aflac trivia question for tonight unveiled. Who holds the Astros single season record for victories? And that's some pretty good pitchers.
I can think of one that managed the Astros and did a great job.
Larry Durker. Well, they really did. Well, for a while, they were like the Mets organization with pitching.
How about Wilson? Don
Wilson, yeah, back in the 60s, a great pitcher. Orlando Palmeiro leading off for Houston here in the 4th.
We saw Mike Scott against the '86 Mets. The Mets didn't want to see him in the final game of the playoffs.
He pitched a no-hitter.
How about the big fella?
J.R. Richards.
I've had guys who played in that era tell me for a right-hand hitter, there was no nastier pitcher to face than J.R. Richard in his prime.
He threw a slider that was about 96 miles an hour. His fastball, of course, faster.
He struck out 15 against the Giants as a rookie in his first start.
And what about this, though? The Astros have never been in a World Series. Came close in '86.
What a playoff that was against the '86 Mets.
How about that? First runner of the game is Pedro, who rarely walks people. Issues a 4-pitch walk to Palmeiro. And a Brings up Chris Burke.
Shea Stadium was getting some of that atmosphere that they had in the mid 80s. One of the reasons is the guy on the mound tonight.
Didn't have it in the mid 60s, that's for sure.
No. Late 60s.
Yes.
Astros really is, well, they started as a Colt 45s and then went to the Astros as there was a complaint by Colt Pistols that they couldn't use that name. So they changed to the Astros. But the Astros, as the Colt 45s, had a farm club in 1961, 1 year ahead of the Mets. So they really got a big jump. It has never worked for a World Series appearance.
Here's where Pedro's going to help, as he knows he'll lead off runner in a 1-0 game facing Oswald.
One time Paul Richards wanted to trade the Atlanta Braves as a whole team to the Houston Astros as a whole team. That didn't go off.
That's one I've never heard. Ball 1 here to Burke. Pedro first pitch on the slide step. Trying to keep Palmeiro. They see Pedro's going to do everything he can here to help diminish any thought Houston would have of trying to run.
Well, the way Oswald is pitching and the way Pedro is pitching could very well be a low-scoring game. You don't want to get beat because of the stolen base.
And Burke fouls it back.
And the Astros have to try with Mike Piazza behind the plate. They have to attempt the stolen base because Mike has struggled throwing the ball to second base, bouncing the ball.
One thing that Pedro does so well is he holds the ball in that set position a long time. That's one of the best deterrents there is.
Get on the ground to Reyes. There's 1 and 2. Nice little reach there by Matsui to make sure he caught Reyes' throw.
Well, here it is again. A pitcher's delight, a 6-4-3 double player. Panasonic digital replay, ideas for life.
The second baseman.
Well, if you're a pitcher, Ralph, you gotta love that.
Ground ball, double play, well executed all the way around.
2 for the price of 1, and just relax as a pitcher, although Pedro seems relaxed enough. So it was a 6-4-3 double play to Reyes, to Matsui, to Anderson.
So Craig Biggio, the batter, with 2 outs and nobody on. It does seem so strange. It almost feels like it's not the Astros here tonight to have Biggio and not Bagwell. Or it'd be the same as if the roles were reversed. They too have been the soul of the Houston Astros for over a decade.
I look at them like Utah had Stockton and Malone.
Right?
Yeah, they've been together, Bagwell and Biggio, for 15 years. This will be the 16th.
I want to wish Jeff Bagwell a lot of luck with the operation because he's been a terrific player with the Astros and a good guy.
Probably the best hitter they ever had. Little Jim Wynn was pretty good too.
Yeah, Jimmy was toy cannon.
Toy cannon, yep.
Foul back, and that's going to be now Piazza giving a little run at it, but it's back on beyond the screen.
How about Jose Cruz? He was no slouch either.
He was a good hitter. I would give it to Bagwell though.
And then how about Cedeno?
Yeah. Nobody, you're right. Nobody ever has hit with the power. There's the great Cheo Jose Cruz. But nobody's ever hit with the power and run production in a Houston uniform the Bagwell is.
And Bagwell might be one of the best all-around players they've ever had.
So once again, the 2-strike rhythmic applause from the Shea crowd. 2-2.
And don't forget one of the first players, Bob Aspromonte. Remember him? Right out of Brooklyn.
One of a long line of Met third basemen. A long line that we think's come to a stop for the next few years. 2-2. Biggio just protects there. Foul away.
Well, this crowd really getting into it with Pedro on the mound, similar to the way they get into it with Doc Gooden on the mound back in the 80s. Lance Berkman on deck.
Bob Murphy, the great announcer for the Mets, Said one time if I asked for money, his parents are here in the ballpark. I am outside.
Into right field. Cameron coming in is there, and the Astros are retired. They get their first runner on the leadoff walk. That's it.
Great night of baseball and a terrific night for our Cheering for Children Foundation. We've encouraged you throughout the evening to make a phone call and make a bid on some of the great items we have up tonight. Cliff Floyd at the plate right now. The number 212-465-3900. $850 the current bid for the ability to announce the starting lineup here at Shea. You see the rest of the bids. Make a call. Operator standing by. If you want more information on the item itself, go to msgnetwork.com. Ted?
All right, Matty, and just a quick what is Cheering for Children? I see some of the more items that are available. Autographed baseballs, jerseys. Let's see what, wow, the Ralph Kiner ball. There you go. Already into triple digits, the number to call. And Cheering for Children, a great cause that is assisted by MSG Networks, the Knicks, the Rangers, the Liberty, and Radio City Entertainment, and it raises money to support issues for the well-being of New York's children. Existence of quality after-school programs and playgrounds in particular. A great effort. And we'll be keeping you updated tonight, tomorrow night as well, about some of these items and the bidding. Cliff bouncing one into right field. So the Mets get a leadoff man on. Floyd's second hit.
The catcher.
Take a look at this again as Cliff Floyd pops that ball into right field. His first time up, he hit a hard ball. He hit it with a lot of velocity to left center field, and he picks up that base hit, a C&I hit to the right side of the infield as we go back to the duck.
All right, Aunt Ralph, who do you think?
I think Larry Durker.
I'm gonna say Mike Scott. Let's see. Mike Hampton.
Year before he signed with the Mets.
Yep. Piazza, that's gonna find the hole. So the Mets with good fortune to start the inning. And now you see if they can take advantage. Two bouncing balls, but well placed in both their hits.
They're gonna try to bang a couple hits, drive in some runs against Oswald. He's throwing the ball well. In this inning, Ralph, 2 C&I base hits.
Well, Willie Keeler said on a successful hitting, I hit them where they ain't, and this is certainly where they ain't. 2 bouncing balls through the infield.
So now the interesting question for the Mets is, do you have Marlon Anderson bump them over with David Wright? You're going to near the bottom of the order, but you do have David Wright on deck.
I think you really have to push here because they're looking for the bunt, and Anderson has had a good year as a pinch hitter.
That's the dilemma, is if you do successfully bunt, you probably take the bat out of David Wright's hands.
But if you did, you know, it's up to Matt Sweet to drive him in, but I would let Marlon Anderson swing the bat because he's been swinging the bat well this year. As Ralph mentioned, especially off the bench. Ralph, we talked about how relaxed he is at the plate. He told me that he works on relaxation techniques. He feels his bat will be quicker if he's relaxed.
Well, Sandy Alomar Sr. has worked with a theory of relaxation for both Floyd and Alexander. And it's worked for Floyd this year, too.
Oh, that's a good change right there.
Boy. And that's really what Oswald uses. He uses this because this is not a sharp biting curveball, but it's so slow that it really, Fran, like you said, it acts like a changeup.
Good change of pace.
That's a great changeup right there. He threw that ball 69 miles an hour. Think about this. You're facing a fastball pitcher who on the radar gun registers 96 and then throws an off-speed breaking ball at 69. And he likes to throw that breaking ball.
And that's what Oswald this year, particularly the last 4 or 5 starts, has started throwing more of a slider to try to give him a breaking ball that's a little harder, pitch in between.
Remember what Cliff Floyd said. He looked at the video and he realized, I can't catch up with his fastball. I'm not ready for his fastball. But he likes to throw his breaking ball with runners in scoring position. And he did it to Marlon Anderson right there.
How about this bulletin? We have a new bid. cheering for children bid. Ralph Kiner ball, $450.
All right.
I'll go along with the ball on that one.
I'm glad my call went through. I can't tell you how many fans I'm walking up ramps here tonight. There's the number for cheering for children bids for the Ralph autograph ball, Tom Seaver, all the great items, trailing Matt Loughlin, which is annually one of the most desired items on this night. I'm walking up the ramps, come to the Diamond Club tonight. How many fans saying, is Ralph here tonight? Can we meet Ralph?
I thought you said Ralph who?
Oh, they know. Ooh, Anderson just trying to get out of the way, and the ball hit his bat.
There's that fastball to Marlon Anderson, and it's a good pitch. Oswalt has excellent stuff as you look at the runners on first and second.
When you look at the Houston pitching staff, you say, boy, these guys, I can't believe where they are in the standings. They got some big-name pitchers.
Oh, there it is again. That's
the breaking ball.
Just a big, slow breaking ball.
Remember what Cliff Floyd said, runner in scoring possession, and you'll get this pitch. And Marlon Anderson, after being brushed back, gets a slow hook for strike 3.
See, Marlon actually did wait on that. He just missed it. And for Oswalt, a very important strikeout. It is his 5th. And now he'll face right.
You know, you mentioned how Pedro Martinez has that slight build. So does this guy, Roy Oswalt.
And Wright fouls off the fastball.
First time up, David Wright was behind on that fastball right there, first pitch. He's behind
again. Yeah. One of the things about that could be a break, that strikeout, because Wright is a potential home run hitter. If he had been sacrificed, I should say Anderson had been in sacrificing position and had accomplished that, Wright would have been walked, and it wouldn't be left up to Matsui and the pitcher.
That is caught by Everett. Oh, David Wright waited well on that breaking ball, but he didn't have the same good luck that Floyd and Piazza did.
Well, he just threw the fastball by him, and then he gave him that slow breaking ball. David Wright spanks this ball hard. Our Panasonic digital replay, ideas for life, and it's a terrific play right there by the shortstop, Adam Everett.
And good base running by Floyd. My goodness.
Yeah.
That ball looked like a base hit all the way. He could have been trapped out second.
And isn't that baseball? In the same inning, you've had 2 4-hoppers for base hits, and then the guy that hits a line drive
is out.
So it's going to be Matsui, who singled to left in his first at-bat with 2 out. Runner still at first and second.
Matsui slapped the ball to left field.
Now I think the question, and Ausmus and Oswalt may indeed talk about this, is do you just give him anything to hit? You know that Oswalt's thinking, as Andy Pettit, who will pitch here Thursday night, watches on. Oswalt's thinking, you know, I probably can't afford to give up any more runs. I mean, that's how he has to pitch this game. And for a strike. By the way, Pettit triggers the thought. He's here. Roger Clemens is not. Does not make the trip to New York.
He didn't have to make the trip.
Pitched on Sunday. That is foul wide of third, and I can't obviously speak for him, but I'm thinking that's going to be a tough gig to give up. With all the mania here about is Clemens going to get traded. That's a pretty nice deal to pitch on Sunday, then I'll see you guys next week. You guys have a good trip.
It's a good deal for the pitcher, obviously, but I'm not so sure it's a good deal for the atmosphere around the ballpark, especially if they're losing.
Would he give that up? 1-2 and tight. One thing that Houston people say absolutely will not happen. They can't fathom any way that Houston would ever trade Clemens to Texas. It would be very much like the Mets trading a player to the Yankees or vice versa. That they say that will never happen. Houston could not do anything that might help Texas get to a World Series.
They let Nolan Ryan
that's exactly right.
Agent?
Well, that's why it already
happened.
They lost.
It happened with him.
And Matsui got jammed inside, and boy, that's a good job by Oswalt. He pitches at him, and a jam, and we'll go to the 5th, still 1-0.
Fourth Vice President of Sales for the Mets, along with John Galloway and Bernie Conlon, taking a tour of Shea Stadium and now taking a look at that Pepsi picnic area.
That'll be jammed early tomorrow.
It will. It'll be packed.
So Pedro to Berkman changeup, and it's 1-1.
Well, Pedro Martinez has that great straight change. Roy Oswalt, Ralph, with that curveball change.
They all do the same thing. They take your timing really away.
And then the fastball foul away.
How about Berkman got hurt playing flag football?
He's big enough to play tackle.
But it was flag.
I know that.
Usually you hear about somebody getting hurt playing tackle football, contact football.
Blew out his knee in November. Had to have reconstructive surgery. Just missed 2-2. How about the brilliant rookie shortstop of Colorado, Clint Barmes?
He's out.
And had a broken collarbone in about 3 months, it said. And there's the changeup for the finish.
He started with the change and finished him with the change. Take a look at this pitch sequence from Pedro Martinez to Lance Berkman. You see the breaking ball misses, and there's that great changeup for a strike. The fastball, he fouls it back, misses with the change, gets him.
See, this is the brilliance of Martinez. The first at-bat, he threw nothing but fastballs to Berkman. Second at-bat, he threw him almost all changeups.
Yeah, and both times he struck out.
Ensberg fouls it away, but I just want to finish that point there because it goes to his injuries. Here's this kid, comes out of nowhere. Barmes has a great start for Colorado, and he trips up the stairs, he says, carrying groceries, and breaks his collarbone. Now, my question is, why is it that it's always like these highly tuned professional athletes, best athletes on earth, that slip in the bathroom or have accidents in the kitchen? I don't know anybody in my life that has tripped up the stairs and broken their collarbone carrying groceries. I don't understand that.
Well, the key is to marry a strong woman.
And there's Pedro with a 3-pitch finish to Ensberg for number 5.
Well, Pedro Martinez has him dancing in the aisles here at Shea Stadium. You see the grip from Pedro Martinez. Nasty breaking ball there, Ralph.
That's pretty good pitching. He leads the National League in strikeouts, and you can see why.
So Mike Lamb, who struck out his first time. Left field, Floyd is there. And through 5 innings, only one Houston base runner on a walk. 1-0 Pedro and the Mets. The Mets got a first inning run, doubles by Cameron and Floyd. And they would very much like to get Pedro a little more breathing room. Martinez will lead off the inning himself. The Mets got the leadoff man on in the 3rd and in the 4th, but both times Oswalt pitched out of it. One and 2 now to Martinez. Isn't it funny how it seems to always happen this way? When you're the #1 guy, you so often tend to hook up with the other teams. Hey, he said, I guess, Oswalt would be the co-ace of the Houston team with Clemens. Pedro, the #1 guy doesn't usually match up with the #5 guy, Ralph. You know,
you're right, yeah, and that's one of the reasons why when they have great records that they really earn it. Because they are matched up against the best pitchers, usually all the time. Speaking of that, there's pitchers. How about that guy that wouldn't get the ball to Frank Robinson?
Oh, yeah.
Oko.
Yeah. Pedro to center field. Well, the Mets. Martinez gets his first, can we say, real hit of the year? And the crowd loves it. And for the 3rd straight inning, the Mets have the leadoff man on.
Well, they really
look at the smile.
Personality. Here it is again. Pedro slapping the ball into center field. And the fans love him here at Shea Stadium. Look at this.
I know he knows it too. That's the first real hit. Reyes. Quick bluff with a bunt to draw the third baseman Ensberg in even more.
He's going to shake hands with him in a minute.
Ralph, the fans here at Shea Stadium embrace Pedro Martinez at the home opener.
Oh, he hits a double play ball here, but no, there's not a person at second, and Reyes almost got to first in time.
Yeah,
Biggio was not able to get to second.
Yeah, Biggio was there, I think.
Biggio was coming over. Would have been a tough play for Biggio. He had to come a long way. He was playing off to the right side of
Let's see what Ensberg's thinking.
base.
He knows if he waits any longer, he's going to lose the chance at first. So he says, I'm going to get it out.
Well, they had him. They had him. Take a look at this.
Sure, I know.
This is a sure. Look at this. All you do is wait for him to get set. Biggio was very upset with this. But he had plenty of time, and Pedro quit running from first to second. Biggio was not a happy camper.
And the ball runs into Cameron, so the Mets have a runner at second, but this is also a situation where it has to be an absolute sure thing. Mets third base coach Maniac is not going to wave Pedro around if there's any chance of any sort of a play. Cameron base hit. Now let's see what happens. Nope, you're going to hold him up. No question. Most runners would be waved home on that, but you're just never going to do that with a starting pitcher.
The center fielder, Carlos Beltran.
Well, there was no doubt about the fact he wasn't going to send him in. Right now, he holds him up right there. No chance to score. And the Mets have their center fielder Beltran coming up with a chance to get another run. One man out. Infield is being played back. They're going to try to get the double play.
Oswalt overmatched Beltran in the third inning. Struck him out on 3 pitches. By the way, we get a note that a gentleman by the name of Aaron Schwartz has just phoned in, cheering for children, to buy the Ralph Kiner autograph ball for $10,000.
All right, Ralph.
Wow, that's great.
And that is going to close the bidding. So does he get Palm Springs for that?
Well, right now, I guess he could because it's hot there.
That's wonderful. Well, Aaron Schwartz, wherever you are, we thank you for cheering for children.
Right.
And your bid will do so much to help. And all of us have had a chance to go to some of the Cheering for Children playgrounds that MSG has helped to generate around the city. That's great. Ball 1 to Beltran. Not only has Pedro Martinez brought electricity to the Met team, he's brought it to the crowd. I mean, the crowds that are here are more lively in these kind of situations. Inside, 2-0.
You know, one of the great assets you have when you have a Beltran or a Mickey Mantle, you got that guy can go to either side of the plate.
2-0 to the middle, and Beltran delivers. Cameron's on his way to third. How about this? Leg looks okay. And Carlos Beltran delivers 2-0 Mets.
Carlos Beltran getting a pitch to hit and driving in a big run, a very big run, because Pedro Martinez is on the mound for the Mets and throwing the ball well. Pedro scores easily, and Beltran comes through, Ralph.
He certainly does, and also a good base running by Cameron going to third. Is there to score on and out. And again, the infield is playing back for the Houston Astros.
And another guy that has lent a lot of spirit to the Met team, as you saw there, Doug Minkiewicz. Oh, whoa, Cameron was leaning a little bit on a timing play. Dansberg and Cameron diving back.
Good try by Oswalt. Ensberg close to third, and it's a very close play. That's when you got to watch for that play. If the third baseman is playing close to the bag.
He was there.
So, you know, I told you about a guy I caught. Ralph picked him off first. He did that at third base as good as anybody, Steve Busby.
So Cliff Floyd with a double to left center in the first, driving in a run. Ground ball single to right in the fourth. And I would wonder, and here's our Dodge quote book tonight. Well, Cliff knows of what he speaks. Hit a lot of home runs in April and May. Had some offers. June has been a better start for him.
There's that big swing again.
Said it put him in a slump, and then tonight he's had 2 hits, and right then he goes back to try to hit the ball 9 miles. Got 14 home runs this year. And he mentioned on Sunday he had a nice fluid swing.
Well, Oswald answered my question. I was about to wonder if he might pitch around Cliff here. He has an open base, and Piazza behind him. Oh, and he got the inside. Cliff doesn't think so. 1-2.
That was a breaking ball, and Cliff thought it was low.
Here's the 1-0 pitch.
Wow.
And another big rip, and Oswald, well, no questions there. Strikes him out.
The catcher, number 31.
Oh, he throws the fastball there. We mentioned the grand slam last year off the slow curveball. So far tonight he's thrown him heat, and more heat.
That was a big strikeout.
Yes, it is. He went right at him. Now Piazza bats with 2 down. Mike struck out in the first, singled in the fourth. That is what you want your great pitcher to do. He didn't back away from the challenge. Went right at the Met cleanup hitter. And then it gets Piazza in on the hands. So the Mets will settle for 1. And now Pedro Martinez will take a 2-0 lead to the 6th. Through 5 innings, Pedro Martinez has struck out 5, walked 1. And he starts Adam Everett with a strike on a breaking ball. Pedro's first pitch he threw there was his 53rd of the night. It's the first time in New York that Pedro has pitched in Pedro weather. He's had it in Florida twice. Fastball outside, 2-1. Popped up into left center. Beltran and Floyd, and it's going to be Beltran taking it as Cliff ducked in front.
Well, I got it. Is heard by Floyd. He gets out of the way, and Beltran puts it away.
Well, Cliff said early in the year that he likes that idea. If the ball's hitting the air and he hears I got it from Beltran, he's giving it to him.
He's got it. It's not like when you have a bad outfielder out there and he yells, you got it.
That's a bad sign.
That's a bad sign.
Ausmus, after striking out, he was called out on strikes in the 3rd inning.
Good curveball.
Breaking ball misses away, 1-1.
That breaking ball missing outside from our camera upstairs. Ralph, look at that.
Close.
You see Pedro tonight, most of the fastballs have been in the high 80s. We've seen him at times where he's been able to get into the 90s this year.
Yeah, well, in Florida, he was in the low 90s consistently. You mentioned that weather down there.
This has got that kind of, you see how humid it is. Ausmus fights it off, hits it to Matsui. 2 down.
Well, he hit that hanging breaking ball to Matsui. So one thing Pedro is doing is he's living in that strike zone. Take a look at the grip. He threw the ball up. It was a breaking ball that stayed up, and watch Brad Ausmus jam himself and just muscle the ball towards Matsui.
Actually, he got away with that pitch.
Now Oswalt will bat with 2 down. Oswalt grounded to short his first time. Let's take a look at our Jeep game summary.
See Palmeiro with the walk, and look at this up here. No hits for the Astros so far. Floyd 2 for 3, an RBI double. Beltran, RBI single, and Pedro Martinez is hitting this game. On their feet again here at Shaq.
There's no question. I mean, everybody can see the scoreboard. And as this game has gone along, there's a little extra feeling in the air.
No question about that. The fans are aware that no one has ever pitched a no-hitter for the New York Mets.
If he gets Oswalt, I think you're really going to start to hear it. Struck him out. Martinez has struck out 6. Hang around. It has that kind of feel to it. Last of the 6th at Shea, and Marlon Anderson takes a curveball for a strike. Followed by Wright and Matsui. Mets have had 9 hits, but only 2 runs off Oswalt. Anderson trying to drag bunt, but Oswalt off the mound to field it. So 1 down.
Oswalt has certainly shown good stuff once again tonight, although he has given up the 9 hits. The one guy that said that Oswalt had a major league fastball when he was in the minor leagues, Nolan Ryan, and Ralph Nolan knew about fastballs.
He was one of the hardest throwers of all time. Of course, the all-time strikeout leader. No one even close to him.
This ball low to David Wright, and it's an error that you feel here as Pedro will take the mound for the 7th inning. Plenty of ammunition left.
David Wright on that pitch there was a fastball. He's behind on a fastball. His last at bat he hit the ball very hard on the line, but it was a slow breaking curveball.
With 2 down, Matsui, who singled in the 2nd and hit back to the mound in the 4th.
You know, talking about no-hitters, years ago, if you pitched a no-hit, no-run game of less than 9 innings, you got credit for it. 5-inning no-hitter or a 6-inning no-hitter. And then, of course, the all-time greatest pitching on a no-hitter was Harvey Haddix, who went 12 perfect innings and then gave up a home run. He had a no-hitter for a while. They took that away from him. You have to pitch a no-hitter, and you have to win the ball game.
Is absurd.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
They changed that rule tremendously.
You pitch a no-hitter. What is it at? What's the relevance?
For 9 innings.
Your team didn't score. I was saying if you pitch 9 innings, not your fault your team didn't score. Now he beat it out. Matsui's speed beats out that chopper to Everett. Stays alive.
Well, right there, Matsui puts the ball on the ground to the left side of the infield. Didn't hit it real hard, and he could smell a base hit, Ralph.
And he got down that line. They talk about his speed. He has great speed. And as far as stealing bases, he has not done that here in the States. He was a big base stealer in Japan. Right here, of course, the pitcher is hitting, so he'll stay at first base.
Chance of Pedro, and I don't imagine Oswalt's going to fool around with him here. Pedro started the 5th inning with a single to center and eventually scored. Nope. Two heaters right at him.
Pedro Martinez has pitched 9 innings of no-hit, no-run ball.
Here's the base hit in the 5th inning. The ball down and away. And Pedro just threw the head of the bat out there. Got a base hit, and he enjoyed it. You can't picture him without a smile on his face.
There's the curveball for the finish. So that was serious, and Pedro able to smile as he'll go back to the mound, not having given up a hit for 6. As Ralph mentioned, Pedro Martinez on June 3rd, 1995, pitched 9 perfect innings at San Diego. His team, the Expos, did not score until the 10th. Martinez gave up a hit in the bottom of the 10th and thus was not credited with a perfect game.
One of the most unusual games for a no-hit, no-run game was a pitcher by the name of Babe Ruth, the real Babe Ruth, who walked the first batter, got kicked out of the ball game, arguing with the umpire, and a fellow named Eddie Shore came in and got credit for a no-hitter.
Ground ball to Matsui. There's the first out in the 7th.
Well, Pedro doesn't have the overpowering fastball, but he's making great pitches with his fastball. He's keeping the Astros off balance with his breaking ball and his changeup. His fastball has been topping out at about 89, 90 miles per hour. And he still has that. They allowed him to wear that sleeve, although he has the other sleeve down.
After the first inning.
Yep.
Went and put the longer sleeve on the left arm. There's a curveball to Burke. Chris Burke has grounded a short and grounded into a double play.
It happened to him in Florida when Jack McKeon wanted that sleeve down, the left sleeve. .70-mile-per-hour breaking ball right there.
Hold to left field, and there goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout as Chris Burke homers.
His first home run of the year.
Chris Burke's going to say, this is a nice crowd. We're playing away, and they're giving me a nice hand.
So it gets broken up. In the 7th inning on a home run by Burke. That's his first major league home run. How about that? On a curveball off Pedro Martinez to break up a no-hit bid.
So Chris Burke getting that ball, hitting the ball over the wall, his first major league home run. And lucky for him in winning that bullpen, because that's the Astros bullpen that can keep that ball for him. You can always say that he broke up a no-hitter by Pedro Martinez in the 7th inning with a home run.
Well, now the story becomes the ball game. It's 2-1. And these are the kind of games Pedro's been involved in a lot. And as Ralph mentioned earlier, Pedro's 6-1. He's also had 3 games lost by the Mets after he's left the game. Berkman on deck. That's foul back. And this inexplicable Mets phenomenon continues. It's the 44th season of New York Mets baseball, and there has never been a no-hitter thrown by a Met. And in fact, only one pitcher in the history of this franchise has even gone to the 9th inning with a no-hitter. That's Tom Seaver, who did it 3 times. Foul back. The last good chance was Tom Glavine last year. Tom Glavine pitched 7 2/3 innings against Colorado in May of last season.
Seaver pitched 5 one-hit games. He also had a no-hit game while pitching for the Cincinnati Reds.
So somebody from the Astros threw no hitter against the Mets.
2-2.
Darryl Kyle.
Darryl Kyle, the late Darryl Kyle.
Here's the near no-hitters. Seaver, Tom Seaver, 8 2/3 innings. 3 times Tom Seaver flirted with no-nos, and also Tom Glavine.
Glavine is one of 4 Mets who've done that. Gone 2 outs in the 8th as Biggio goes down. And it's 7 strikeouts for Pedro.
Well, Pedro comes back after giving up the home run and gets Biggio, and here's the pitch he got him with. Breaking ball on the black.
7 Ks. 4 Mets, Gary Gentry, Pat Zachary, David Cohn, and Tom Glavine have all taken no-hitters to 2 outs in the 8th. It's going to happen, Ralph, and you're going to be here when it. I know you're going to be here when it does. It's only right.
Man. Sooner or later. I don't think San Diego's ever had a no-hit, no-run game.
Preston Gomez will tell you about that.
Gomez took a pitcher out named Kirby when he had a no-hit game. As a pinch hitter, he took him out of the ball game for a pinch hitter.
He had given up a run, isn't that correct?
He had given up a run.
Losing the game 1-0.
1-0.
But Buzzy Badesi, general manager, was not happy with the move.
Buzzy said we were trying to get fans in this ballpark. We want the no-hitter. I don't care about the game.
Speaking of fans, listen to this play.
1-2 to Berkman, missing away. It's the 80th Pedro Martinez pitch. So again, it's one of those situations where the no-hitter was trumping the game. Now the game is very much the story. That's ripped to right field. Cameron has to short hop.
Boy, good play to stop that ball.
So Berkman with a 2-out single.
Third baseman.
And it will bring up Morgan Ensberg.
Berkman hits his ball hard. The ball short hops Mike Cameron. The ball gets by him, Ralph.
It's a home run inside the park. Well, maybe not with Berkman running.
Especially with the bad leg. That was timed at 75 miles per hour.
Berkman set a record for switch hitters with 94 extra base hits. More than anybody else ever had as a switch hitter in one season.
Here's Ensberg, who's had a nice power push. And his numbers across the board are competitive with any National League third baseman right now. One. So Pedro has had his toughest inning. Of course, he gave up the home run, but he's thrown 20 pitches in this inning. Fastball for a strike. He gets it up there at 90. You can see the humidity taking its toll. Perspiration dripping off Pedro's locks. Got him. 8 strikeouts. So the bid for history denied. Now Pedro. 7 innings with the lead 2-1. Well, quite a night here at Shea with a crowd that I think could sense early on that it had a night or chance to be a special night. Pedro Martinez taking a no-hitter into the 7th, spoiled by Chris Burke's home run.
I think anytime Pedro pitches, as you look at the Mohegan Sun infield hits, major league leaders. See Reyes with 15. I think anytime Pedro's on the mound here at Shea, it's going to have that feel. Fans have fallen in love with him here at Shea.
The matchup tonight had that sense, a Houston team that's down, a lineup that looks a little thin and struggling on the road. But now again the story, because Oswalt has managed to hold the Mets to 2 runs, the story is very much a game. The Mets want to make sure they win. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of Sterling Mets may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mets.
John Franco warming up in the bullpen.
The only Left-hander in the Houston bullpen. These boys, that the night?
You can't beat that. You come to the ballpark, you're a southpaw, you go for the ice cream. Get the Mets shirts on.
Cameron Jan into slowly. Berg plays it, gets him. And Cameron pulling up again, easing there as he goes past first base.
The center fielder.
Hey, you see Ensberg charging that ball. Good-looking young third baseman with the Astros.
Ooh, that's a nice play.
And you got that bang-bang play at first base. Lamb reaching out. A lot of the seasoned veterans at first base cheat a little bit off that bag. Ralph, did you ever play first?
Sure did.
Did you cheat?
Yes.
You cheated
The
in the
greatest
outfield.
cheater of all time was Gil Hodges.
Was he?
Yeah, he invented the neighborhood play. Was in the neighborhood of first base.
Couldn't do that today.
I
TV
don't
will
think-
stop
That's
it.
exactly right. One strike to Beltran. Beltran's single. There's Gil. Beltran's single in the 5th inning is the difference in the game. His one-out single to center drove in Pedro Martinez. You see Beltran shaking his hand there. It's not the hand, though. It's the left hand where he's got the thumb sponge.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Ralph. How you get that bone bruise. It's funny, you get jammed one time, you end up with a bone bruise for a month.
You can't get rid of it. It's just every time you hit one off the hands, it comes back again.
Usually you get it in cold weather.
Yeah.
Beltran, boy, he did a nice job. Beautiful swing as he goes down the low.
Yeah, stay by that curveball. I mean, that was great timing right here. Look at the body stays back.
The left fielder.
Now the hands go and the body in great position. Look at that. That's when you got a great swing.
That is beautiful. Second hit tonight for Beltran.
Well, the Astros are familiar with Beltran because they had him last year. And I'm telling you, to the man, they raved about Beltran as a teammate.
Well, he had 8 home runs in the playoffs.
They knew he was going, though. They knew he was going, and they knew he was going to a team in New York.
Got him from Kansas City, and that was it. He almost got to the World Series because of him.
So Cliff Floyd, the batter, and the Astros will have Oswalt face him. That's why you saw Franco go to look like he was going to go sit down. Ball by Ausmus and Beltran to second.
When you're known for your defense, when this happens to you, this really upsets you. And this kid's a good defensive player. Now, he knows he should have caught that ball. He brought that glove up just a little too soon, and the ball stayed down, went off the webbing of the glove. Should be scored a pass ball.
Now they're going to walk Floyd.
I bet you that's what this is about.
That might be the first time I walked a batter to get to Piazza in a long time.
Yeah, they've got to walk Floyd to get to Piazza right now. That pitch carefully to him, that's a bad idea. Now, Mike Piazza does have a base hit in this game, but for the first time, you might want to go by the book, a right-hander against a right-hander, rather than going after Floyd. Looks like they're going to go after him.
Well, they'll pitch him tough, so he won't get much to hit right here.
Define that word, tough.
Nothing in the strike zone.
Oh! He got him last year, remember?
And that's what this is about, Fran. You called it. That's what this is about.
He must have said, I'll pitch to him all right.
Well, that's what Cliff.
Look at this.
That's the reaction is the history.
I'll tell you one thing. You don't get the full size of Cliff Floyd watching him on TV. He's a big guy.
That's the first time we've seen since Cliff's been a Met. The bullpens are now emptying.
He hit a grand slam off him last year on a slow curveball.
And then he got drilled the next time he hit.
Yes, he
So I'm
did.
saying that's the reason Cliff reacted that way. It's the history. And I've never seen Cliff react that way.
He didn't hit him that game. He hit him the following time he saw him. Next time Oswalt pitched against the Mets, he drilled Cliff. Here he does it again. This is what you call pitching him tough, Ralph.
Now, don't walk him, hit him.
Right in the elbow.
Don't walk him, hit him. And Floyd is saying you did that to me before. Oh, he is really hot.
Well, one thing that helped Cliff is he has that covering his elbow. He has that padding.
I wouldn't want to take on Floyd if I were you, Oswald.
The bullpen's empty. That's the toughest part of being in the bullpen. You got to run all the way in.
Have to go back.
Now you got to walk back.
The Well, the wildest scene I've ever seen like that was Mel Rojas was pitching once in San Francisco, and he hit a guy, and it's interesting.
He was wild anyway.
Bob Brenly was the bullpen coach for San Francisco, and he ran from the bullpen to the mound, and he tackled Rojas.
No kidding.
And started a brawl from the bullpen coach. That was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Brenly, now a broadcaster again.
Yep.
Roy Oswalt has a little bit of Nolan Ryan in him. He'll go inside on you.
Well, let's face it, he's pitching with Clemens the last couple of years. I think that hasn't rubbed off a little bit, too.
Well, this guy here will do it. Pedro will retaliate.
He sure will.
You know what? This is going to become a wild ball game.
Well, it's 2-1, though. That's the only
But, you know, sometimes if you protect your players, it'll be 4-1. They'll help you.
Yeah. Well, if Mike Piazza can deliver here, then I would think you're right.
Well, Pedro, you know, he's going to keep that score in mind, but he's got that other thing in mind, protect his players.
And everything tonight, the at-bats with Piazza, Oswalt has just buried the ball in on Mike. Struck him out in the first. Ground ball single for Mike in the fourth, and a ground out in the fifth. Beltran at second, Floyd at first with 2 down. Inside pitch, of course, getting the fan reaction, but this is the way they pitched Piazza tonight.
You got to be impressed with this right-hander, Roy Oswalt, Ralph.
Well, he's certainly not trying to hit Piazza with that pitch because it would load the bases, but he's going to come inside.
He didn't shy away. He asked to pitch Mike inside. He did hit Cliff Floyd, and that was certainly on purpose.
And again. Pedro glistening in the heat of this summer-like night. Piazza, Mike chasing one off the plate, so after the inside pitches, got him away.
Here it is again, the pitch off the plate outside after 2 fastballs, Ralph.
He was looking inside, and it was a pitch where he couldn't reach. He was pulling away to get the inside pitch.
Look for him. I believe he'll come back inside. He had Mike pulling off the ball.
Yes, he did.
Osman's not exactly trying to shield those fingers, is he?
He's going outside again.
And rides up high, 3-2. That's interesting, those signs, and he had those signs not like he's even trying to hide him.
Well, they're using a more complex set of signs with the runner at second base, but I know what you mean. Usually the catchers go deeper into the thigh area to hide the signs. Looks like they want to go back inside.
Well, right here, the runners will be in motion. No sense of worrying about the runners. You got to get the batter.
3-2. Just inside. So Oswalt walks Piazza. And now Marlon Anderson,
The first baseman.
Take a look at this sequence. Fastball inside. Inside bad. Inside low. He goes away with the fastball. Goes up high, misses, and they go back inside. They miss way inside. And Piazza goes to first base after a sequence of fastballs.
well, this is interesting. That was the first walk by Oswalt tonight. Marlon Anderson has also had trouble with Oswalt tonight. 2 strikeouts, and then he tried to bunt his last time. Let's see if Oswalt looks like he's going to stay in the stretch. Right-hander Qualls in the bullpen. A strike on the outside.
12 pitches.
Hit off the glove of Ensberg. One scores, that's all.
Oh, boy.
So a liner by Anderson off the glove of the third baseman.
A good break for the Mets. It was well hit, and it would have been a great play.
And I tell you what, after Anderson struggles with Oswalt tonight, the fact he hit a ball this hard is had to make him feel good. It's as if it was a victory. Anderson stung it, but Ensberg's going to feel like he should have caught it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ensberg will tell you he should have caught that ball.
And it is scored a hit. It's 3-1 Mets. And a pitching change as Oswalt is cascaded off the field with boos. Chad Qualls on for Houston.
Chad Qualls now in the ball game for the Astros. Might be a break for the Mets because Oswalt was throwing the ball pretty well, although leaving the ball game trailing 3-1.
And David Wright looking for one big swing here to break it open.
Mets have had a ton of hits in this game. He's lucky he's this close.
Yeah.
The interesting thing of this move, just off paper, is that Chad Qualls this year, lefties are hitting .217 against him. Righties are hitting .431.
Wow.
That's what I said. I saw that. And Wright loops one toward the right field line. Long run Berkman. Long run Berkman. Foul ball, which is a big break for Houston.
Well, Berkman was never known for his speed prior to hurting his leg. This ball had a lot of hang time, and Berkman didn't come close.
That's 3 runs had it fallen fair, and I'm not sure Berkman could have caught that ball had it been fair. So Qualls ahead in the count, 2 strikes.
Take a look at it again. He ran a long way, but didn't really come close.
Maybe gets it if it's fair. But now Wright's in a hole. And chases, and he's done. And disgustedly throws the bat away, but the Mets add one more against Oswalt. So Pedro Martinez to the mound, now with a 2-run lead, facing Mike Lamb to begin the 8th. And that's pulled sharply, but right to Anderson. 1 pitch, 1 out.
By the way, before Pedro took his warm-up tosses, the home plate umpire, Bruce Dreckman, went out and talked to Pedro Martinez. As I'm sure he's saying, Pedro, don't get anybody hurt out here now. We're not sure if the benches have been warned after Cliff Floyd was hit by Roy Oswalt.
I did not see any sign.
Neither did I.
So if it happened, it was verbal. Oftentimes you'll see the umpire actually physically point to the dugouts. The other thing to remember about if the Mets view this as something that needs to be payback, these teams play a 4-game series in Houston in late July. So obviously you've got a very strong chance that Oswalt's going to pitch in that series.
There's a good chance it might happen tomorrow.
And it's possible too.
It might happen before this game's over tonight.
Right. I mean, you got some volatile things going on here.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Adam Everett.
Also, you don't know what was said to Pedro by Willie Randolph in the dugout.
A little blooper into shallow right. Matsui back. And that's out number 2. So 2 down in the 8th, and Brad Ausmus will bat. And a reminder that you can sign up to watch out-of-market baseball games on your computer anywhere you are. Just visit Mets.com, where you can sign up for MLB.TV, the place to watch live baseball. Ausmus, the batter. So Pedro's thrown 90 pitches. And that's strike to Ausmus. That's 91.
That's pretty good for 8 strikeouts.
Yes, it is. The lineup's going to turn over. Mets hope by the 9th inning, not here in the 8th.
Well, Pedro right there at 88 miles an hour. We've seen him with a better fastball, but he's had great control of all 3 pitches in this ball game.
So the first pitch strike to 18 of the 26 batters, 3/4 up. Great ratio. 1-2. He had a no-hitter into the 7th, broken up by rookie Chris Burke's first major league home run with 1 out and a 2-out single by Berkman. Those are the only hits for Houston on this night. Jose Vizcaíno is on deck to bat for the pitcher. All the way again by Ausmus. Foul right back.
Whoa!
Did that get you?
Did not think.
Yeah, that came right back at Healy. Holy cow, Healy.
Well, there's another foul ball they got by Healy.
I was just going to say, just like an old catcher, huh?
Yeah, get out of the way.
Houston bullpen, Dan Wheeler and Russ Springer. Ausmus making Pedro work here. So just the number of pitches in this at-bat may impact the Mets thinking with Pedro in the 9th inning. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat, 98th total. Remember that Pedro's on the 5th day tonight, and he'll come back on the 5th day again Sunday, so no extra rest this week. Full count.
90 miles an hour. So when he needed to reach back, he did to get it up to 90. Just off the plate inside from our camera upstairs.
Struck him out on a fastball. 9th strikeout for Martinez. Another Pedro masterpiece. He does know how to rifle those bills. You notice that? So the bottom of the 8th, and Pedro is coming out in the on-deck circle, and that alone elicits a reaction as he talks to Rick Peterson in the dugout. And right now, the bullpen quiet.
They were talking. They had to be talking to him about, well, can you give us one more inning? Now, Pedro's talking to Cliff Floyd, probably talking about why he didn't retaliate.
Yeah, I think you're right, Grant.
It's the wrong time.
Matsui out swinging wildly there for strike 3. And now Pedro gets the beginnings, and now this will morph into a standing ovation in Shea. And the bullpen is beginning as Pedro comes to the plate. First signs of activity in the Met bullpen.
We were talking about earlier how you get that feeling that they had in the mid-'80s here at Shea, the excitement when Pedro's on the mound. This team has personality, the way the team in the 80s had personality.
Looper starting to loosen up. So is Ramon Castro, and the Mets will likely make that change in the 9th inning. Reyes on deck. The Houston lineup will start in the 9th spot. Pinch hitter for the pitcher in the 9th inning. Cliff Floyd drove in a run in the 1st inning and then hit by a pitch in the 7th that got the benches and the bullpens emptying, although there was no altercation. Has now faced 3 men and struck out all. But you know you're going good when you get applause after a strikeout.
Bad in the 8th inning.
You better be a pitcher. Now, I don't think it's ever happened to an everyday player, unless, Ralph, like you said, you might hit 3 home runs in the game, and then you strike out. What they do to you?
Boo.
Oh, that's not good. They were hungry fans in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, they want blood.
Well, here's Reyes, who was
like Philadelphia. They blew an Easter egg hunt.
Reyes 1 for 4. Don't you think there'll be more and more kids now that we're getting into summertime, and particularly on days Pedro pitches at Shea? Reyes with a bouncing ball, backhanded. 1-2-3 inning, and so we go to the 9th, and it looks like Pedro's game to finish. 3-1 Mets. So Pedro Martinez takes the mound in a 3-1 Met lead. A 2-hitter through 8 on a warm, humid night at Shea with a big turnout. And leading off is Jose Vizcaíno, the one-time Met. Vizcaíno leading off as a pinch hitter.
A home run for the Mets, his first at bat here at Shea Stadium.
And the curve in. 101st Martinez pitch. The other issue, Piazza is staying in the game to catch. The Mets did not make the defensive switch behind the plate. Got him looking at a curveball. Number 10.
Good pitch from Pedro Martinez. It looked like a backup slider, backup breaking ball. And it tricked Vizcaíno, so one man down here in the 9th inning, and Pedro Martinez throwing an excellent ball game with Mike Piazza behind the plate once again.
The 4th time Martinez has reached double digits in strikeouts this year, and now faces Orlando Palmeiro. And still have Brayton Looper warming up in their bullpen. Pedro chants circulating. By the way, there's a report tonight on ESPN that the Mets have signed Danny Graves to a contract. The Mets have not confirmed that yet, although Graves was here working out for the Mets today. 2-1. St. John's closer Craig Hansen was drafted today in the 1st round by the Boston Red Sox. He was the 26th man chosen. Ripped foul wide of first. 2-2. Palmeiro followed by Burke, the man who broke up the no-hit bid in the 7th.
See if Pedro starts his next pitch off at the hitter. He's got the knack for starting that fastball off at the hitter and having it come back out over the plate. 106 pitches for the right-hander Pedro Martinez.
You must be loving this. Having a stadium in the palm of your hand. Strike 3 on the inside. Palmeiro pleading his case to no avail. 11 for Pedro.
Mike Piazza gets a target inside, and Pedro runs it at the hitter and over the plate. Nasty pitch from Pedro Martinez.
And you can understand Palmeiro because you can't hit that ball. So Burke, who hit a curveball into the Houston bullpen with 1 out in the 7th for a home run that broke up the no-hitter, fouls it back. Martinez trying to complete his 2nd game of the year, and if he does it here, it would be his 2nd 2-hitter. The other one in Atlanta for a first Met victory this year.
91 miles an hour. Go back to the 7th inning. There's the breaking ball. He popped it over the wall. So Pedro's now throwing a fastball over 90.
Struck him out. Pedro finishes with a flourish.
How about 92-mile-per-hour fastball to shut down the Astros? Pedro Martinez throwing an excellent ball game, Ralph. Mike Piazza doing the catching to get with Pedro pitching.
Well, they closed out with 4 straight strikeouts for a total of 12 in the ball game. And as we mentioned earlier in the ball game, if the bullpen hadn't blown 3 of his possible wins, he would have a record now 13-1.
And listen to this crowd.
I mean, pardon me, 10-1.
This is a big Pedro party right now.
Yes, it is.
Amazing. I don't think anybody in their wildest optimistic dreams this winter, when Pedro agreed to play for the Mets, could have imagined this kind of start and this kind of reaction.
And listen to this crowd here tonight. And the thing is, he brings his personality. No matter how intense the contest is, he shows his personality. So Pedro Martinez addressing the crowd.
He's having a great time.
Look at this. He's having a blast.
He's had two hitters, complete game two-hitters. He struck out 12 opening day in Cincinnati. He equals that tonight. Indeed, it is Pedro's house right now in Flushing, and let's hear from him as we go down to Matt Lockwood.
Hey, thanks very much. Pedro Martinez, congratulations on the complete game effort tonight. Near no-hitter as you take it into the 7th inning. What a terrific performance. Big smile on your face kind of tells the story, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm really pleased with the way everything went. I felt in command of every pitch from the get-go, so I just wanted to make it happen.
You saluted the crowd as you came off. They continue with the Pedro cheer. What does that feel like for a player?
It's a great feeling to be embraced by the fans and so quickly, actually. I could feel it and I could sense it from the first time I stepped in the white lines here in New York. They gave me a great reception, and I'm very happy and very pleased to actually live up to what they expect from me.
Did you have any particular feeling taking the mound tonight that you had a good one like this in you? I mean, you've been pitching so well, but this was a special one.
Well, I just have to feel healthy, and when I'm healthy and I continue to work and I'm able to do the work, the type of things that get me strong and able to do the things I do, I can pitch, and I'm older now and wiser, so I just want to take it out there and let it go.
Your reference to health is the hip injury that you needed the cortisone shot for?
Yeah,
that's now going away?
That has been the only incident so far this year, knocking on wood. I hope we don't have any more.
All right, so you have the no-hitter. Chris Burke, you're facing him in the 7th inning. He hits the home run. You threw a breaking ball there. Was it not where you wanted it?
You know, I didn't realize it was a no-hitter.
Really?
No, honestly, I just pitched, hitter by hitter, pitch by pitch. And I thought I could throw another breaking ball low and away, and I knew he was going to be swinging, but I hung it. I hung it, so I hung it, and he hit it.
And then you had to bear down in a tight ball game. Do you at that point, did you realize the no-hitter was gone, or did you say, hey, it's a 2-1 game, I got to pitch?
It's a 2-1 game. To me, it's just a game, and I just continue to do what I have to do, continue to get ahead on the hitters and try to get out.
All right, last one, and we'll let you go. You have said that you can throw many pitches for strikes, change speeds off of all those pitches. What was particularly effective for you tonight?
Strike one. Strike one was the key, just getting ahead of the hitters and then using the rest of the stuff.
All right, Pedro, congratulations. Thank you very much for your time.